Hey guys, Daniel from Explorer Caravans here. Right behind me I've got a Viscount Wild Shark. I'm going to do a video on how to show you how to set it all up. So first thing we're going to do, guys, is show you how to use your door. So we've got a crimp safe mesh door, which is a standard feature on all our Wild Sharks and all Viscount ranges in fact. We're free camping, so it's nice and hot. We want to have a bit of airflow throughout the caravan. We want to separate these two doors. So all we need to do is just lift the handle up, pull it apart, and now we've got a nice beautiful airflow and a nice strong crimp safe like door frame. So first thing I want to do is make sure that my shower head's back up on its rack. When we're traveling, we always want to make sure that it's taken down and wrapped up in like a tea towel or some sort of thing that's going to protect the fiberglass shower. So down the bottom here, I've wrapped mine up in a tea towel. We'll just undo this, we can chuck that back in the cupboard, and then we just hook this back up. The Viscount Wild Shark's got all black tapware, which I think just looks the next step classier. While we're in the shower, guys, we'll open up the overhead hatch. Basically, we just twist this open just to make sure you guys remember to turn and flick this switch on, turn the fan on when you are having a shower, just so it evaporates all the steam out of the shower so we're not having any unwanted steam throughout the caravan. Alright, I've opened up this hatch as well, and then I've also unlocked my sliding door just so it's easy to use. We always want to make sure that these are locked when we're traveling, so Viscount actually have two locks on their doors. We've got one up the top here with a key lock, so which you can't actually drop down, and then just another little flick lock down the bottom here. So it's locked top, bottom, so it's not going to bounce around when we're traveling and jump off and cause issues down the track. Next step is the most important step, which is making sure our beers are still cold. With the Viscount Wild Shark, we have a 209 litre three-way smart fridge. So the smart fridge should tick over automatically for you to gas whilst we're free camping. And yes, once we've turned it on, she's already lit. Beers are going to stay cold, which is the most important thing. Fridge is done. Now we want to chuck on the hot water system and our pump. As we're free camping, we want to make sure we're using our pump. We're not having any connection to more water mains. With the hot water system though, we only want to use when we only want to run when we're about to run something. So if we're about to do the dishes, flick this switch on here. 15 minutes before you do the dishes, come back, do your dishes. Same thing again with your shower, 15 minutes before you shower, and once you're done, turn it off. That way you're not wasting gas that you don't need to waste. Turning on the pump in the Viscount Wild Shark, all we want to do is press this little droplet button down here, click that in once, pump one, we'll shoot across to on. And that's that simple, guys, really simple. So she's a pretty warm day. I want to open up these overhead hatches just to get some cool air throughout the van, and we can also open up some windows as well. This open, and then we've got our fly screen. Oops, wrong one. Fly screen, just so no flies can come in and annoy us while we're having a little sit back and wine. Open up the windows. User-friendly handles here. Nice double glazed window with a bit of tint to it as well, so it's UV friendly. We'll pop this right open like this. A nice big window. Viscount and Franklin both offer a grub screw. That's a standard feature now, so it stops any wind picking this up, slamming it shut. It locks it right into place. That way the wind can't take it anywhere. And the benefit of these windows is they're massive. You can sell hot jam donuts out of them if you're good enough. You get great airflow, you get great ventilation, and great privacy and ventilation together as well. Next step for me would be setting up the TV. As you know, it's recommended to not travel with your TV on the bracket. There's different ways to do that. You can chuck it in the box. I personally like to keep it on the bed, just underneath the pillows. Easy access, it's not going to go anywhere, it's nice and safe. What we do is just basically hook this on, undo your little grub screw, slide this right on here, and away we go. Tighten up that grub screw so she's not going to slip off. Next step would be to plug in your 12 volt power to the TV and your antenna. So before we plug the TV in, we want to make sure that our 12 volt plug is still unconnected. We don't want to be traveling with a TV plugged in and live at the end. It's not good for the fuse. So we plug it in at the TV port first and then plug in our 12 volt socket after that. TV first, up here, then we can do our antenna underneath here, and then up in our overhead cupboard, tucked away out of sight, we can plug in our 12 volt socket into our 12 volt plug. Now the TV's all hooked up, we can wind up our antenna. We use a Winegard antenna, which is a really good brand to use. We highly recommend these. Really simple setup. All we're going to do is just follow the arrows up and down, and away we go. Wind it all the way up until it stops. Once it stops, we know it's fully standing. From here, we can pull this down and actually change the direction of our antenna so we can get the best signal possible. If you've optioned for some Sirocco fans, it's a hot day, so let's use them. Really simple. Basically, we want to set these where we want them before we start running them. Otherwise, you're going to get your fingers jammed in there and that's not fun. So we've got this clip down here. Basically allows us to pivot where we want it. I want it on the bed. I'm just about to have a little nap. So we flick this down, lock it into place. Right there, set the position. There's a button on each side of the van, sorry. We click that, 1, 2, 3 fan speeds. She's pretty warm, so I'm sticking on 3. And hopefully I don't sleep for too long, so we've got a timer on the top of it. We've got 3, 6, 9, and 12 hours we can run this fan before it times itself out. I'm gonna go with the 3. Now, if you have optioned for the footrests, which I highly recommend, it's pretty much the last step for when you're setting up your caravan. The last thing is to sit back, relax with your best friend, and stick your feet up and enjoy bevy. So how we do that is pulling our drawer out just here, and notice how Viscount do these footrests, excuse me Leo, is they still maintain their storage underneath their cabinetry. There's a lot of other brands out there that have the flip up ones. They typically break really quickly. So what these guys have done is maintain storage. Then we slide out this little slider there, and then we can slot in our little tip cushion. That way we can sit back, relax with our feet up, and enjoy the van and watch your plates. So that concludes our setup video on the Viscount Wild Shark. Now I'm just going to sit back and relax with my best friend here, Leo.